Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Corey Jones. I'm with Compassion Works for All here in Little Rock. We provide mindfulness meditation programs for people in jails and prisons. And this upcoming month is a pretty exciting month. We're going to be out at, and by upcoming month, I mean October. We're going to be out at the Little Rock Yoga Fest at Wildwood Park. That's happening on Sunday, October 10th. And if you haven't registered for that already, I definitely encourage you to do so quickly. I don't know how many tickets they have, if it's an event that can sell out or not, but I still encourage you to do it quickly. But that's going to be a really neat day of lots of yoga. There's hiking, there's meditation, there's all kinds of stuff. We will have a table out there, a booth with some of our information and merchandise that you can purchase from Compassion Works for All. And then we will also be at Harvest Fest this year over in Hillcrest. They are having it this year. The stipulation is that if you're a vendor or if you intend to purchase things, you have to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test within the last 72 hours prior to the event. But they're going to give it a shot and try to have Harvest Fest up and going again this year. So we will also have a booth out there where we'll be mingling with the folks and selling merchandise and things like that. So if you are interested in doing some outdoor type community events in October, look for us at both of those places. Today, I wanted to talk about the idea of impermanence. It's one of my absolute favorite things to talk about when it comes to being a mindful person, because I think it's, for lack of a better term, for me, it is one of the most true things that we can talk about. And that is that everything ends. Everything eventually goes away. At least in its present form, depending on where you fall in terms of your thoughts on an afterlife, or if anything happens after we die. At some point, everything in its current form eventually goes away. And that might sound like a weird thing to talk about as one of my favorite things, but I think it is not only gives us perspective, but it can also be really motivating to recognize that everything ends. So for example, our time together today is going to end. We usually wrap up around 12:25, 12:30, something like that. And so you know that there's an end point to what we're doing here today on this video. And so because you know that it's going to end, it can allow you to keep your mind here while it's happening. Because whatever's happening after this time, whatever's going on for the rest of your day, you can wait for that to get there because you know there's an end point to this. So it can help us focus. It can help bring us into the present moment. There's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, who you may or may not be familiar with, but he's a kind of an entrepreneur type guy, motivational speaker. And one of his most famous videos is he's getting into a car after he gave a big speech in some downtown area somewhere, and he's getting into the back seat of the car, and this woman runs up and starts pounding on the window, and she goes, "Gary, Gary, Gary," and she's got her phone out. She's like getting a selfie video of her with Gary Vaynerchuk, and she goes, "Give me 3 words that will motivate me, just something I can keep going back to. What are the 3 words that I can use for some motivation for keeping going and staying consistent?" And he goes, "You're gonna die." And she kind of looks at him like, "What?" And he just goes, "You're gonna die." And he rolls up the window and they drive off. And the reason that was so popular is because that's kind of at the heart of some of his motivational speaking is you get one shot at this life. You know, like this is it. This is the shot that you get at this life. And so what do you want to invest your time and energy, your thoughts, your emotions? Where do you want to use it? How do you want to spend it? Because you only get a very finite number of days. And so eventually those days are going to run out. And whenever you get to that last day, what do you want to have done? Who do you want to have become? And so the idea of impermanence gives us this sense of presence because we know everything's going to end, but it also motivates us to use our time with urgency and intentionality. It's like if you were going on vacation to one of your favorite vacation places, but you're only going to be there for a couple of days, you wouldn't waste any time. You would use all of that time intentionally and purposefully and urgently because you know that it's limited. All of life is limited. The last thing that I'll say about this before we get to our meditation time together is back in May, I had surgery, kind of see the scar on me still. I had surgery to remove a tumor from my salivary gland just south of my jawline. And for a time, it was diagnosed as a really rare and aggressive form of cancer. And they got it all out, and my scans so far have been clear. So so far, things are looking good. But whenever you get that close to death, and it felt closer than it ever had for me, that that's whenever you really start to, and as cliche as it may sound, really start to take stock of things that actually matter and that are actually important and urgent to you. Because we can live so much of our life mindlessly, and we can live so much of our life just waiting for the next thing, thinking about the next thing, letting our minds drift into the next place or the next time, and we're not here. But all we ever have is here. All we ever have is the moment that we're in. And so the more we can practice impermanence and embrace that concept that everything goes away, the more it motivates us to be present, to be urgent and intentional with what we have, and to use it in ways that are good and lead us into who we're trying to become. So that's my my little mini message for today. Let's begin our meditation time. So if you're like me and you're seated in a chair, I invite you into a mindful posture where you have your feet flat on the floor, you're upright, not rigid, just attentive. And let your hands just fall gently into your lap, however is comfortable for you. And let your shoulders relax. Unclench your jaw. You can either gently close your eyes or angle your gaze downward. And as we settle into this mindful posture, we'll begin with 3 bells. Whatever is waiting for you after we're done with this meditation time is going to be there. Trust that if you are fully present here and now, that when it's time to be done, it will come and you will go about your day. And so your mind doesn't have to be in the future right now. Your mind can be here and now in the present. And your mind also does not have to be in the past. You don't have to ruminate over things that you've done for which you might have bad feelings. You don't have to be filled with a sense of regret or shame. You don't have to wish that your life had taken a different path or trajectory, because the past no longer exists. You're just here. So as your body begins to settle into the present, let's bring our mind into the present also by using our breath. Begin to inhale and exhale gently through the nose. And don't worry about doing anything more than that. There might be sounds around you that are a bit distracting. You might have thoughts or feelings or sensations within you that are a bit distracting, but we're just going to let those be exactly what they are. We're just going to breathe. Let the inhale and the exhale be 2 completely different acts. Follow the air all the way in on the inhale. Follow it all the way out on the exhale. Notice that each one has a brief pause before you transition to the other one. There's a brief pause after your inhale comes to completion. And there's a brief pause after your exhale comes to completion. Don't do anything with that necessarily, just notice it. Follow the air in, notice the pause. Follow the air out, notice the pause. And this is all we're doing. We're just sitting and breathing. If your mind starts to drift a little bit, that's perfectly fine. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't strain and struggle and get tight because you're trying to focus and trying to meditate, but there are so many distractions. Just gently release the sense of striving. In the way you might bring a small puppy back to its spot when you're teaching it how to sit or teaching it how to stay. Just gently bring your mind back. And continue to focus on your breath. If it helps to align your breath and your mind, on your inhale, you can say to yourself, I know I am breathing in. And on the exhale, say to yourself, I know I am breathing out. And all we're doing really requires nothing more than that. A gentle inhale and a gentle mindful exhale. With the idea of permanence in mind, of impermanence in mind, the idea that everything ends, this time together will come to an end. Rather than thinking about the end, think about the present. And become now who you want to be then. If you want to be relaxed by the end of our meditation time, then begin to relax now. If you want to be fully present by the end of our meditation time, then begin to be present now. If you're feeling stressed or angry or some kind of what you would consider a negative emotion and you don't want to feel that by the end of our time, then begin to feel a positive emotion or sensation now. Become now who and what you want to be by the end of our time together. Continue to maintain your mindful posture. Continue to breathe gently. And continue to be gentle with yourself. And as we begin to come to the end of our time together, as we approach the finish line, take one last moment to be here, to be present. Be here fully with your body. Notice where you feel grounded, your feet, your sit bones, your back, your relaxed shoulders, your unclenched jaw, your gentle, smooth facial muscles. Notice how present you feel with your breath, breathing gently in, breathing gently and mindfully out. And take one last opportunity to notice how it feels to be present with your mind. It's not drifted off into the past or the future or to some alternate reality. It's just here, right now. Feel this unified sense of presence, mind, body, breath. With that feeling of presence, let a bit of happiness start to well up inside you. Because happiness can only exist in the present. You might be excited about something in the future, but we only experience things now. So take one last final deep inhale through the nose and let it out through the mouth. I hope that was helpful for you and beneficial. As I said, I think impermanence is something that is a really important mindfulness tool to practice, but also I think one that gives us some of the most perspective. So in every single moment that you're in, there's going to be a finish line. So if you've got a tough meeting ahead, if you've got a tough conversation ahead, if you've got a stressful week ahead, it's going to end. One way or another, everything comes to an end. And that's actually really good news when we embrace the present and let the present be what it is. So that's what I hope you get to do today. Have a great day, everybody.